All right, welcome to the webinar for Connect LaunchPad from Connect Sales Coaching and Consulting. This is a new service we're offering that's really a conglomeration of a bunch of services we already offer. We just discovered a need and felt right packaging them to be more right for the situation we're seeing today. I'm Russ Ziegler, the founder of Connect Sales Coaching and Consulting. We help equipment manufacturers grow their sales through their dealer networks. Some of the core beliefs we have on the screen there. Good things to know about us as we proceed to work together. So selling through dealers is different than direct sales. There's different tactics, different investments, it's a different business entirely. The dealer is not your customer. We don't sell to the dealer, we sell through the dealer. And from that stems a lot of the things we do together. To grow sales, you need to educate, equip, and motivate your dealers. You do not sell to them, you sell through them. And by educating them, equipping them, and motivating them, that's how you grow sales. So to start here, the people that are right for the Connect LaunchPad service are people who today are selling direct. So we do have to take a pause and say, why a dealer network? You know, if everything's going well and you're selling to your customers today, why would you even want a dealer network? And I stole and changed a quote that I like. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go big, go with the dealer network. And so 3 different areas we can describe the benefits of dealer networks are leverage. Picture some mature dealer networks you know today. So John Deere, Polaris, Caterpillar. This morning, thousands of people woke up and their job is to sell John Deere equipment. Thousands of other people woke up and their job is to service Caterpillar equipment. Those people don't work for John Deere or Caterpillar. They're not on the payroll. They're not employees that are, a liability to the cost there. So through a dealer network, you can leverage all of these people, all these organizations. There's equipment at a dealership near your customer, and you don't own that equipment. Somebody's already bought and paid for that equipment. So you can really go to market with a lot more leverage when you use a dealer network rather than having to do that directly. Culture is a fun one. So picture just the US, how different this country is corner to corner. The different culture in New York City versus Chicago, Miami, or North Dakota. So from any corporate headquarters, it's really hard to reach into a local market and deliver the way they need to hear what you have to say. So there are dealers that know the local culture, speak the local language, have local relationships. Those are the people we partner with to help get our product out. Then scale. That the market size of your equipment, if you want any respectable market share, the scale of the organization you would have to handle that directly is insane. Just picturing the thousands and thousands of employees you would have to have on the phone, servicing your equipment, all of that, it just can't be done directly. So leverage, culture, scale, that's why we want a dealer network. You can do more with less and you can do it faster. So the origins of the Connect LaunchPad service is an associate of mine, Chris, and I went to ARA, American Rental Association. We went to ProMat, and we're looking for innovative products and innovative organizations, people we can work with. And common question we ask is, how are you distributing today? So we went booth after booth, meeting people and seeing a great product, obvious customer base out there. And how are you distributing today? We're distributing directly. We like to meet our customer. We have a custom product, all of this, and just realizing that they could scale so quickly if they adopt a dealer network. And so just with Connect being a company that helps OEMs with their dealer networks, we meet and talk with a lot of companies that already have dealer networks. And so we have plug-in services to plug the holes in their offering. Now that we've met all of these companies that they look similar, but they haven't taken that next step into the dealer network. So we're not plugging holes. We're doing it from scratch. We're adapting from direct into dealer sales. And so we really combined a lot of services we already offer and bundled them into the Connect LaunchPad. So Connect LaunchPad, it's aimed to be dealer ready in 90 days. So this is for an organization that has a product, has been selling direct, has been supporting the product direct. So sales, service, parts, warranty, all of that being done direct. In 90 days, through a bundling of all the services we do, we can make that company selling direct launch into a dealer network. We've got it divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 is discovery. Phase 2 is building, and phase 3 is finish. We're going to dive into what each of these is. Again, this is meant to be conversational. If you have any questions or anything, we can do that. Phase 1 is discovery. This is where we want to know who you are, what you do, what your strengths are, who your customer is. So these are services we already offer, and this is all going into discovery. So your ideal customer profile. Who do you sell to today? Who can use your product? You probably already know this if you're selling direct, probably know it really well because you're selling direct, but we need to define this clearly before we can define our ideal dealer profile. So what we're looking for is dealers that can easily reach that customer. And when we do that, the ideal dealer profile is going to be a list of data points on what we're looking for. A lot of times, just the easy things to look at are other lines that they sell. So are they selling a competitive line? Are they selling a complementary product? That's really where we like to look. That if you have a superior product at a better price, we can unseat those existing competitors. So if a competitor has already done the work of setting up an entire national dealer network, but you're a little better than them, we might be able to unseat them from the dealers. Those dealers are already used to selling to your customer, and we can just get going really fast. Otherwise, if they're selling complementary product, so if they're already selling a product to your customer, so they're selling product A to a customer, but that same customer needs to buy product B, which is your product, that's who we're looking for. We're going to do a tools analysis. So you're servicing your customers directly. There's about 35 tools that a successful OEM has to manage their dealers. An example of those tools are dealer recruitment deck, dealer onboarding program, it's service manuals, it's dealer portal. So we're going to look at what you already have. And so we, at a later phase, we're going to have to adapt those tools for servicing a dealer network versus servicing a customer direct. Organizational analysis. So we're going to analyze your organization for this shift in how we do business. So today you've got salespeople selling to customers. We need to convert those salespeople into managing dealer territories versus doing direct sales. And so we're going to look at who you have, what their strengths are, what positions they maybe should be in. We're going to do that with sales, marketing, inside sales support, and after sales support. Customer value proposition. So you've already got this defined because you are selling direct. We're going to further dig into this because we're going to be handing this job over to the dealers. So, when you make a copy of a copy of a copy, you start getting a little distorted. So we need to be very precise in our customer value proposition. We're going to look at our dealer value proposition. So again, the dealer's not our customer. They don't want to use your equipment. They don't want to own your equipment. They want the profit from selling your equipment. So you can't just reuse your customer pitch deck to go recruit dealers. It's going to be a small part of the dealer recruitment deck. Then MTO sales goals. What's your sales goals? Minimum, target, and optimal. As we start building this, we can't draw the map until we know the destination that you want. So we're going to build all of the tools, all the organization, all of the things for your target. So what do you want? And minimal is what you need to just be in business a year from now. Target is what we're building the tools around. Optimal is if everything goes right. What if we go viral, to use a current term today? So that's phase 1 discovery. This is all looking internally. So this service does take a lot of internal bandwidth, internal horsepower. So when we say 90 days to dealer ready, we don't necessarily need to do each phase right in a row. We might want to do phase 1 discovery, take 30 days, just figure everything out. Then we could take a 30-day pause, 60-day pause before we start in the next phase. But this is going to take a lot of internal bandwidth. You know who you are, you know the tools you have, and when we're done, you're going to proceed to success by yourself. So just a note on that it does take internal bandwidth. Phase 2, building. So this is when we start converting your organization, your tools, all of this from the direct sales model to the dealer model. So we're going to build the dealer business case. So we defined the ideal dealer profile. We looked at the value prop of the dealer, why do they want to do business with you. Now we put together the business case. And this is where we do the work for them and we define why they want to do business with us, why they want to become a partner. The organizational plan. So we've looked at who you are, who you have on your team, what their skills are, strengths, weaknesses, all of that. We're going to put a plan together to get the right people in the right seats for this dealer launch. Go to market plan. So this pulls it all together with what is your target goal? What kind of revenue do you want to get? We're going to look at how many dealers you need, where those dealers should be, and then the time frame in which it will happen. Two-tiered marketing plan. So this is an important differentiation here that if you're doing business direct, you've been marketing to consumers. Right now, you're shifting gears and you're going to be marketing to dealers to recruit them into the fold. You don't stop the consumer marketing though. And the leverage and the scale, this is great because once we recruit dealers, they do a lot of the work for us locally. So it's the two-tiered marketing plan in the dealer setup is going to be that we hand them the tools to market to consumers. We're probably not going to go get a Super Bowl ad and tell everybody about our product. We're going to hand the dealer social media posts, collateral put on their website. We're going to hand them the things to go get the consumer. But we do have two different target audiences for our marketing. We've got the dealers we're planning to recruit and the recruited dealers that we're strengthening the relationship with. Then we've got our end users as well. Two different marketing plans there. We're going to adapt and build the tools. So we identified all the tools you have. Now we're going to adapt them to be dealer ready. As an example that you probably have a service manual for your equipment, but that manual was meant for your internal staff that goes out and does the service. Now we're going to want to hand that manual to the dealer. So it could be as simple as adding a header and contact info and just making it ready for people outside your organization to see. We might be building some tools from scratch. So a tool we're going to be building from scratch is the dealer onboarding program. That as you bring dealers on, your goal is going to be to get them from zero to productive as fast as possible. So we're going to want to do all the trainings, all of the sharing of information, all of that kind of stuff. So that's phase 2, really doing the work of building everything. Again, 30 days for that program, and it doesn't have to be back to back with the first or the third phase. Phase 3 is the finish. This is when we get ready to go out the door and go meet our dealers. So we, through the ICP and the IDP, and the MTO sales projections, we're going to put together a dealer prospect list. So now to hit our goals, we're going to know how many dealers we need and where we're going to want those dealers. Now we're going to add 2 or 3 prospects, depending on our likelihood of success, on which dealers we go get. These are going to be specific dealers that we're going to go pursue. Dealer recruitment tools and plan. So are we going to go knock on doors, launch at a trade show, do our own independent event? We've got our internal people in the seats they need to be in. So who's going to be going out and recruiting those dealers? How are we going to do it? It can be door to door. It can be holding a webinar and inviting people to it. Lots of ways to do that, but we're going to do it for your product in your market with your organization. Product showcase plan. So how are we going to show these dealers your product? This depends on how mature your organization is. Maybe you've been selling direct for 50 years and you've got the best product out there and they already know it. Maybe we need to show it to them. Again, we can launch it at a trade show. We can hold our own kind of event, or we can do a tow-in show. We can go dealer by dealer and go show them our equipment. We're going to put that plan together. Internal team trained. So they have a new job now. Their job yesterday was to meet customers and sell to them. Their job today is to recruit, manage, and grow dealers. They're going to need some trainings. We have lots of resources to create those trainings. Then external trainings developed. We are handing off the job of selling to, servicing, supporting from internal to dealers. We're going to want them trained and trained really well. So we're going to do sales trainings, we're going to do service trainings, we're going to do parts trainings, and then as a bonus, profit management trainings. This is that dealers are doing business as dealers. We can help them do that a little better. So just as we deal with a lot of times hundreds of dealers at a time, we can really elevate best practices and we can help train our dealers on how to do their business better. And when the dealers have a better business, they sell more of your product. But then also, if you are the OEM that is training the dealers on this profit management, you're just nudging the competitors out even further. You're becoming the go-to resource for that. Then now we're going to polish the tools. So we discovered what tools you already have. We built the tools that are needed. We've adapted them for dealer use versus internal or consumer use. Now we're going to polish them. We're going to do the branding. We're going to put the names on it and all of that, make them available in the dealer portal, and just polish all of that. That's phase 3. And again, doesn't have to be all in a row, but this is where we get ready and the rocket ship's on the launch pad, ready to drop the scaffolding away. So now at 90 days, you're going to know your ICP, your IDP. You're going to have a go-to-market plan to reach the goals. You're going to have a specific dealer prospect list, number of dealers, where they're going to be, and you're going to be equipped to go recruit those dealers. So if it's with a dealer recruitment deck, or if it's at a trade show or webinars, you're going to be equipped to recruit those dealers. Once those dealers say, yes, I want to do business with you, you're going to be equipped to onboard them. And again, getting them as quickly as possible from zero to full productive dealers. That's the key there. And then you're going to have the internal team to grow the sales. All of that within 90 days. With that, I'm going to pause for any questions or discussion. And I've thought of how to illustrate what Connect can do for you. So just before we jump into any questions or discussion, so Connect can be your sixth man. That you have an organization full of awesome people in the seats doing their jobs, but sometimes you need just a little help. And so that's what Connect can be. We can be that sixth man off the bench. Now is the time to be converting from direct to dealer. We can throw a lot of assets at that and get you ready to go. And then your team goes on and wins the championship. So yeah, a lot we can do for you. I'll go ahead and pause now. And that's the description of services. Guys, any questions or further clarification needed?
This may be a little off subject, but the programs that go with a dealership, it seems like that everybody has in common a financing program, either alignment with an entity or some other internal programs. Like Ford has internal things, but like in golf carts, there's certain companies that specialize in financing or outdoor power equipment. Yep. I didn't know if that needed to be a key thing, or do dealers pretty much do what they want with that area, or should that be part of your launch?
Yeah, great question. So in the tools analysis, so like I said, there's about 35 tools that every OEM needs to service their dealers. One of those is a dealer floor plan program. So how the dealer buys from you, that they're not often going to have all the cash sitting there wanting to buy your equipment. So the OEM is responsible to set up a floor plan program. Most of the dealers will use it. Other dealers, if they have other product, like so Toyota Material Handling allows other brands to put in their floor plan. But so as an OEM, you're going to want the dealer floor plan. Then there's the consumer financing. And this differs if you're B2B or B2C. So like within golf cars, like you mentioned, Sheffield, that's the name in consumer financing. So as an OEM, specifically a golf cart OEM, you'll create a program with Sheffield where you buy down rates, and you'll usually do that with the dealer. So if you see an advertisement for 0 down, 0% for 6 months, doesn't mean the interest doesn't exist. It means that the OEM has created a program where they buy down the rates, corresponding dealer buys down the rates, and then the consumer sees that 0-0. So yeah, of those 35 tools, 2 of those tools are floor plan, and the other one is the consumer financing. So again, B2B won't be as much retail financing as leasing. So you'll find a lease partner that can quickly turn around lease requests. So if you were selling skid steers and a contractor walks in, you have a pre-relationship with a leasing program that will finance to that business. So yeah, right in those tools, that's part of the LaunchPad.
Okay. Yeah, that's 3 or 4 seminars in itself then, right?
It is. And so the good news is those companies are in the business. Yeah, I mean, so the floor plan company has somebody whose job it is to find OEMs that need floor plans. So pretty simple. Through the launch, we can identify who's doing it in your industry. We can make that connection, and then that expert will come to the table and help you create that floor plan or help you create that consumer financing. So it's we're not inventing the wheel. So there's already people selling wheels. We can get you to the right people.
Okay. Same thing with a website program that dovetails with a dealer then, right?
Yep, exactly. And so a couple things there that if you're an OEM today selling direct, your website is built around selling direct. So the call to action is get a quote, whatever that is. This is part of the two-tier marketing program now. So you are still marketing to consumers because they're still going to go to yourproduct.com. And then you're going to need a second landing page for your dealers. So the main website will stay the same with this is our product, but instead of the call to action being get a quote, it's going to be find my dealer. So that consumer is going to click to find their local dealer, and there's going to be a little call out that says dealer, dealer portal, something like that, that your dealers land on that page and they click on it. In the beginning, it'll be heavy on the dealer recruitment. So it'll be become a dealer will be the call to action. After that, it'll be a click on that to get into the dealer portal. So that two-tiered marketing, again, is to the consumer or to the dealer. And then, that's another tool I think you're mentioning is for the dealer to properly represent you on their website. And so this is going to depend on your offering that these dealers probably already exist. They're probably selling somebody else's equipment already. So we're going to help them add our equipment with the proper branding that communicates the customer value prop, all of that. So yeah, one of the tools that we're going to look at is being ready to help the dealer adapt their webpage to add your product.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like I said, this came out of a lot of conversations we had at ProMat and ARA, and a lot of the conversations are around, well, dealer network sounds good, but, and then we would hear an excuse, a reason, a description of why they can't do a dealer network. And well, we like to meet our customer, we like to touch them. Our equipment's really special. It's rare that you're going to sell me on that. So you know your equipment, you know your value prop. We can give you the tools to train that local dealer. That those dealers right now are out there knocking on doors, walking onto job sites, and they're finding customers. We can equip them with all of the information from your company to go sell your product as well. So it's with the guidance, we're ready to help you do that. Yeah, what else is on your mind? Right, yeah, appreciate the time this morning. This is just really exciting for us. There is so much opportunity out there through the dealers, and it is just a win-win-win in that as an OEM, the dealers can help you sell more, reach more customers, do it efficiently. Those dealers who are signing up, we're going to be adding revenue for them. So they're going to make more money because they're selling your product. And then the consumers, I really believe the consumers are going to be better treated by this as well because they're going to have a local place to buy the product, local service, local parts. This is just win-win-win when the OEM partners with the right dealer and the dealer reaches the consumer.
Russ, tell me again, what is the expected margin or percentage of sales the dealer's going to take?
Oh, so this is different in every industry. And so I can tell you specifically industry by industry. But so just I'll tell you some extreme examples. Material handling, new forklifts are typically 6%. So the dealer's only making about 6% on the sale of a new forklift. They make a lot of money supporting that forklift throughout the life. So they're fine. They just want new equipment in the field because they're going to make money on financing, parts, service, transport, all of that. Golf cars hovered between 18 to 20% in a normal economy. During COVID, they spiked up to 25 to 30% the dealers were taking.
Wow. Good for them.
Yeah, for sure. And it was demand outweighed supply. There weren't enough golf cars out there. And so there's another factor. So I know you're asking from the OEM, that question is asked because how much of the pie are they taking?
Right.
Another factor is in there though is how how close the dealer sells at MSRP. So we write, typically we're going to write MSRP. So that's what we expect the consumer to buy at, manufacturer suggested retail price. And then the dealer is buying at a discount off of MSRP. So we call that dealer net. So the OEM sets a dealer net at the profit they want. And then the dealer marks it up and sells it to the consumer. So during COVID, OEMs were able to raise their price. Plus, the dealer was able to make 25 to 30% because we were selling at MSRP or higher. So consumers were buying golf cars at MSRP. They weren't getting discounts, or they were actually, MSRP is published, and then the dealer would add a dealer service fee of an extra $1,000. So there's those different factors that you set dealer net where you want it. The dealer targets MSRP, but sometimes to get the deal, they'll have to come off of MSRP. So that's why you might set an MSRP 25% above dealer net. When the economy gets competitive, that's when the dealer starts discounting and they don't get the full 25%. And then in a competitive market, the OEM may also be discounting dealer net. So Mr. Dealer has a deal going for 100 units, but they need to get a little skinny. They might ask you to discount a little below dealer net. They discount below MSRP, and we land a big deal at a little lower margin for everybody.
Sure. So, and then, sure. And then our competitors, especially the big guys down Augusta and stuff. Mm-hmm. What are they paying for dealer services? I know in some cases they own the dealer, in some cases they don't. So what is their cost that they're currently compared to the 25, let's say?
So just talk big picture on it. The better service you offer, the more margin you keep. So with the big guys, they do a really good job servicing their dealers, and they make it easier for the dealer to sell as well. So everybody knows the Club Car name, the E-Z-GO name, the Yamaha name. So just that you've got that dealership, you're paying a premium. You're going to be okay with a little lower margin because selling is just easier. So it's, again, it's a sliding scale, and the big guys don't own their dealerships anymore. It's some of the littler startups that are owning their dealerships and grab that whole pie. Time will tell how that investment pays off. If they're able to manage and scale by owning their own dealerships, it's going to be, I'm questioning if they're going to be able to do it. Owning your own dealerships, you lose that local culture. So again, you're trying to run it from the mothership and you're trying to assimilate to local culture. And it's really easy to compete with those guys if you're a local business person with local relationships and they come in almost as a franchise. So, yeah. I don't know if that answered your question. There's a whole lot more discussion that can go into that for sure.
Yeah, but I have the feeling from talking to some dealerships that have told me that the manufacturer has a share of the ownership, that they must have some cost advantage then. And so my instinct is that the 25%. Again, just pulling a number that we're going to have to add, that the big guys might have an advantage over us from a cost standpoint, and maybe their total is going to be something less than that, 15, let's say. So I was just thinking about our position in the marketplace. We don't want to be the low cost, low selling price guy. We don't want to buy our way into the marketplace. We want to sell on value.
Yep.
And but that's going to be really difficult to establish as a first time out. So I'm just worried about where we will be, and if we don't have really distinct advantages from a technical standpoint, from a product standpoint, if we're also going to be at a big disadvantage on the cost side.
Interesting, yeah. So OEMs that own their dealers, they can share the costs differently, but they have the same costs. And they've got, in my opinion, limited revenue opportunities. So the dealership, you still need to own or rent the real estate. You still need to have the brick and mortar. You still need to pay the people, stock the parts, finance the vehicle. So they've still got those costs. They can shift the cost back to the factory or to the dealership. The dealership can just break even and the factory makes more money, or the dealership can be crazy profitable if the factory sells at a lower margin. So they can move their profits back and forth. But their dealerships are usually hamstrung by the offering they have. So if it's, let's say it's an Icon. So Icon has some factory stores. So the Icon dealership sells Icon. And so that's how they need to make their money. They need to sell the Icons. If we partner with a dealership that's a multi-line brand that sells club car and some e-bikes and maybe some trailers, and then we add our product to it, they've got lots of revenue opportunities, and they're driving all that revenue into their website, their outbound marketing, the quality of their salespeople, their trainings, their showroom. So be that local consumer and you walk into the Icon dealer that only has Icon, and then you walk into this other dealer that's got all of these other things. Maybe you bought your e-bike from them, the trailer to haul the golf cart, all that kind of stuff. So and also we've got that local business person who is scrappy and they're going to put food on their own table. So I like that local business person competing with the factory store every day if they're properly capitalized, if they've got the money to do it. So interesting. You're right to have some worry about that, but I like our chances of competing.
Yeah, but I totally agree. We need to go through dealers, and they do offer a lot of value. I'm just I worry about from a final margin, if we're going to have adequate margin to make the business worthwhile at the end of the day. So anyway, that's all.
Okay. Yeah, and knowing a lot about everybody we're competing with, by having better processes, better systems, and better people, we can take the focus away from product and price. So when we go to a dealer, and so through what we're talking about here, the tools and the organization. So when we go to a dealer and we lay it out that this is our product, this is why it's easy to sell. It's got the specifications, the speed, the features, all of that. But then this is our organization. And very clear, this is our recommended part stocking list. This is our warranty program. These are the people within our organization who you talk to. And this is the marketing plan. Put it on your website. This is the social media that you should post once a week. And that local dealer sees that, we've got our stuff together. We're ready to compete. What they're used to is somebody coming through the door and saying, hey, will you buy 8 units? Will you buy 16 units? Take these now. I'll discount them $1,000. That's not a partner.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be competitive and it's going to be fun, in my opinion. So.
Yeah.
But one other thing is, with the changing times and everything, is there any kind of industry trend that's happening that will affect the historical models you're talking about? And the reason I bring this up is like how Tesla kind of somehow rewrote the rules when it came to dealers. Is that just applicable to somebody unique as them, or do you think everything is staying traditional, approach to dealers? Or will something like the Tesla dealership come into outdoor power equipment or things of that nature?
Yeah, a couple different things. So, Lonnie, did you attend my my webinar about retailification?
Yes.
I think you did, didn't you? Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 different trends happening. One is that the equipment that's right for a dealership is complex equipment that's going to need service support down the road. So differentiating complex equipment from retail equipment. So retail is something that is bought off the shelf, and if it breaks, you throw it away. So there is a trend towards retailification in the golf car space. As it was built cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, got to be a point where yeah, $6,000 to get a brand new golf cart. I don't care if it breaks because I'm going to get 2 years out of it. So retailification is one trend, and it's also happening in track loaders and other types of equipment where the equipment is being built so cheaply that I don't expect it to have service down the road. The Tesla model is different. So the Tesla scale of the organization is what's going to keep that trend from coming into our space anytime soon. So to do that model, to have the capital and the organization, the bandwidth to stand up dealerships in any real numbers, we're not going to see that in the golf cart space anytime soon. We're not going to see that in construction, in RVs, and boats. The billions of dollars it takes Tesla to stand up stores across the country. We're just not going to see that anywhere other than big automotive anytime soon, I don't think.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we'd see it in power sports and possibly material handling. I mean, so just think of the markets that are big enough to create a monster that big to go get the cash to go set up these locations. Tesla's business model has been pretty transparent, and we can read books and white papers about it, but the lobbying that they needed to do to be legal, the real estate they needed, all of that. I mean, just so much cash. I don't see it coming anywhere outside of big auto anytime soon.
Yeah. Probably the closest thing, Glenn, and you would know more about this, is last I heard Crown was going factory dealerships versus existing dealerships. I don't know if they're the only ones that could pull that off. But
Raymond's doing it too. So the other thing too is the secret sauce to managing that size organization. It's people, it's HR. So you're no longer in let's just say golf carts. You're no longer in the golf cart space. You're in the people space. You're in the business. You're in the real estate space. So you need to be really good at picking locations, financing locations, hiring people, training people, keeping people, retraining people. And I think even if it was attempted, that local dealer still stands a really good chance competing against that. To run a 10,000 person organization, like it is insane the complexity that goes into it. And Crown's done it for years. You're right. I mean, so I would be really curious to see how it's worked and if it's scalable beyond where it is today. Raymond has bought up a lot of their places too. But how do you maintain that local culture, that local, how do you keep service at that, keep the bar high? It's challenging.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Yeah. Another interesting fact to look at would be, so like when I was at Polaris, there was 12,000 employees and we were a $12 billion company. So that's $1 million per employee. I would be really curious to look at selling direct, what the dollar per employee versus selling through dealers. Because Polaris internally has 12,000 people. You count their dealers, it's going to be more than double. It's going to be probably 5 times as many employees, if not 10. So yeah, shifting that focus from internally out to the dealers, just so many efficiencies.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. All right. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and cut it here. But yeah, I appreciate you guys jumping on, and really, really exciting opportunities here for anybody who's ready to adopt a dealer network.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll slice the recording up and get it over to you guys to share, and I'll be putting it on LinkedIn as well.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.